I have the most gorgeous guest in my studio today. We have a beautiful entrepreneur hailing from Toronto, Canada,
Yeah.
Dr. Fallon Patel. She is an optometrist who owns multiple practices in the Toronto area. She's a thriving business owner, has been learning how to scale and grow in between running her practices, running her home. She's a mama of boys just like me and married and likes to hang out and be a regular person. So we're going to talk about all that stuff. Welcome, Dr. Fallon Patel.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. That was such a nice introduction. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
It is. This is. It was a real introduction. It's honest. You do all those things, right? Don't forget, right? So there's lots of folks. Most of the people that listen to this show, they're all health business owners, just like you. There are a lot of doctors who, have one location. Let alone five. Like, just tell us, how did you get started? Like, was it always a dream of yours to be an eye doctor? Did your parents make you do it? Like, what's the tea? What's the
Truth.
tea?
All right. Yeah. You know what? So this story dates back to when I was probably 16 years old. And I remember my parents had a friend that we would visit. Sorry.
You're good.
Friend that we would visit every week. And this friend, his best friend, their kids were about a decade older than me. And so here I was seeing them every weekend, and the elder son had gone on to become a medical doctor, and the younger daughter had gone on to become an optometrist. And I don't know if she knows this, but there was this one day, and I still remember this vividly. She had graduated optometry school. She came home from her first job interview, and she was wearing this really cool a baby blue suede suit, like a woman's
Uh-huh.
power suit. And when I saw that, I just thought, oh my gosh, like here she
That's
had
me.
she's become this independent, successful, woman. And I just wanted to become that person. So when I saw her in that suit, it really inspired me to, pursue also a career in the medical field. And because she was an optometrist and I was just around her every weekend, I just thought, let me pursue this. It looks like a great career. It looks like she's loving it. She has such a good work-life balance. And, so I went for it.
And
Yeah.
now we're here. And now
And
we're
here we
here.
are.
And
Yeah.
here we
Yeah.
are,
And
right? Like, cause
here we are. Yeah. And there's more to the story. Like in high school, I had loved science. So that was my passion. And so I knew I wanted to pursue something in that. But there's also something else a lot of people don't know about me. I also wanted to pursue art school. So I was probably better in fine arts than I was in science, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy?
really, I
Yeah,
didn't
but
know
this
you were
is
an
where my parents
artist.
were like, my parents, you said, so your parents said, this is where they were like, no, you're not pursuing arts. How are you gonna, how are you gonna make a career out of yourself pursuing art
Right.
school? But I mean, I'm still so happy. I've never looked back. I'm glad I made that choice to pursue optometry school.
I did not know
Yeah.
that you were an artist. What type of fine art?
Drawing, painting, everything. So it was more hands-on drawing. Back in the
Do
day,
you
we didn't
still
have
get to do it
digital.
now? Do you paint and draw now?
I tried to take it up digitally because I thought that'd be easier with the kids. And, if I have like a mural up, they're going to get all of my paints.
Oh,
But
of
no,
course.
I
Yeah.
really need to carve out time to do it because it's something that just kind of balances my soul. So for sure.
I,
Yeah.
so let us know, like, what made you go from 1 to 5 practices? Because some people, for me, I'm like, oh, yes, let's go to 7, 8, 9, 10. And some are like, what? Like, was it smartly done that you got to these 5 locations, or like, what was that trajectory like?
Yeah, it's a good question. If you had known me like in my younger years, you probably would not believe I'd be in this position today. Um, but business and entrepreneurship has always been around. Like in my household, my father had a business, and so I've always been around it. So I guess I was never kind of scared to do it. And when the opportunity, it's just a matter of being in the right place and being prepared for that opportunity. And when the opportunity comes, I just said yes. So so I have locations with lens crafters. When these subleases become available, they're very rare to come by. But when they do, and if it's presented, you just say yes and you take it. And so I think that's And that's a challenge I think a lot of people have is like sometimes people will be faced with those opportunities and they'll say, no, I can't handle it. I'm a new mom. I can't do this. But for me, I just said yes and I just figured it out. And that's just kind of been my philosophy.
So you
Yeah.
basically you bet on yourself. Like there's I mean in the lens crafters model, I mean it's we've talked about this. It makes sense. Like they have the brand, they people know the name.
Yeah.
They have these great like storefront locations and things like
Yeah.
that, but you also have to have the vision to see, no pun intended, but the
Yeah.
vision to actually see, yourself outside the frame. Like I don't know if a lot of health business owners dream that big to actually say, I can have 5 brick and mortars.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I should backtrack a little bit to how that. Yeah, so my first foot in the door as an entrepreneur was really there was an opportunity that came up second year in practice, freshly new grad as Spheres. So I started with Spheres Optical, but here I
Oh,
was. I took a sublease at such a young age, and I had no idea how to, run a business, how to payroll, what's the bin business, number. I had to get
right,
all
right.
Interact and to get all that set up. So from that, being a part of the Sears optical family as a part of the main company, which was which is EssilorLuxottica,
Yep.
we were kind of the underdogs, to be honest with you. Well, Sears, right? They're not around anymore, but Sears Optical in Canada did very well, but the brand was done, right? And so here I was with my foot in the door, and I had known, like I had gone to these events where we would have all the different brands under one roof, and Lens Crafters was there. And that's where I knew that they were, the better, like you see the stores, they have the
Yeah.
technology, the best talent. So that's where I knew I wanted to be. But back to your question on, dreaming big. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Like I didn't know that this would unfold for me 10 years, 13, 14 years into practice. I had no idea that this would be my future. But you're right. Don't sell yourself short. You can dream even bigger if you just set that in your mind. There's nothing that you can't do, right? Um,
Absolutely. Like and I'm here for all of it. I love that it's woman owned, minority owned. I think it's just I love how you're positioning yourself in Toronto to just keep growing and to just kind of, become a household name. Which means like you had to have some strategy, going into this. What was the hardest part when you started to add on these locations? Like between all the things, between the team and
team, yeah,
managing
talent
yeah, all
acquisition,
of that stuff.
doctors.
So tell
Yeah,
us
yeah.
about some of the challenges.
Yeah. So I would say in the scenario of events that actually occurred, you get a lease. Okay, green light. Now you got to figure out the first thing, the hardest part is getting your team together. And you have to be mindful, and it's a work in progress. Like your team that you start out with is not going to be the team you end up with in a year or two, but you got to get, doctors, which is really hard. They're really hard to come by, and good staff is equally hard to come by. And so it's just a work in progress. But sometimes when you get a lease, sometimes I get 2 weeks notice and I've had to open up 2 clinics on the same day. And here I go, doctor, staff, like, how am I going to make this? But you get support, right? You get support, which is kind of nice as well. Like I'm able to scale, like I'm able to run the operations because I'm well supported. Like I don't have to worry about, setting up shop or where to source equipment or where to get my products from necessarily. It's all kind of set up for you. So I
Yep.
think the main thing is just really getting the people and the talent together and running those operations well for yourself.
Yeah, that was when I was running my gyms, and even now with like the agency, like the team thing was it took me out actually. Like
Yeah.
literally from like the gym, and I had no business running a gym anyway, but having mismatched employees or overpaying people. I know you have a couple of dynamics because your employees are actual doctors as well. Um and trying to make them like be motivated to make money and trying to like that to me, and it made me look at myself as
Yeah.
a leader because I was like, all these people, I'm the common denominator. So like,
Yes.
did you have to change anything in you
Oh,
to like,
100%.
to be the better leader and doctor and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, yeah. That comes down to personal development and just reading, learning, constantly challenging it. You have to embody that. And I never thought that that would be for me, but as I picked up one book and I loved it. And as soon as it's so funny, like as soon as I finished reading like that first ever personal development book, magical things started tenfold. So I really think that you do have to work on yourself in order to grow. You got to invest that, right? But as a leader, yeah, you have all these people. If you're a business owner and you're listening to this today, you have a team of even like 4 or 5 people. It is your responsibility to make sure you're taking care of everybody to the best of your abilities, right? So that's our responsibility. And to do that, you have to be always learning, educating yourself, trying to
Yeah,
find new ways to improve, right? Finding opportunities for people. That's what a leader is, right? When you're in charge. So
absolutely.
yeah.
I agree. Oh my God. So one of the books that I read that changed my mind on how I treat my team is the six working types of genius or six
Oh,
working
cool.
zones of genius. Yeah, because it tells you because we're business owners, so a lot of what we do is we're money motivated, and there's the health thing. You want to help people as well, obviously, but our team members usually aren't money motivated. And so if you're trying to like incent them or encourage them to help you grow, you have to know what makes them tick, what's their zone of genius. So that book helped me a lot because my zone of genius is money, which is not one of the working types, by the way. But that's all I
I
could
gotta
like
read that
literally
book.
think of. And I was
Yeah.
completely missing, connecting as even with like my leaders, like now, what do you do different in your business now to try to connect with your team in all these different locations?
Yes, and you're right. You really have to understand what motivates each individual person. Like as you said, some people are money motivated, some people are recognition, some people just want some time off or balance in their lives. Everybody has a different desire, and you as a leader, it's really your job to make sure you figure out what it is that motivates them and provide systems like recognition and rewarding systems to that, right? You got to tailor that now to help them. So the ones that are money motivated, you can have a like incentive plan for them so that they're winning on that aspect. But then you can also make it a team aspect. So the ones that more contribute well to teams and recognition, you can add that in there. So you got to find different ways to layer that in order to have that ecosystem,
Yeah.
grow. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also too I want to kind of touch on like the family component because you're running your work family, and then you also run your home family. Obviously you have a partner, you're married, you have beautiful children. But when I was first growing my businesses, I was not the best mother for many reasons. I was stressed. I was away from home early in the morning. I was just away from home and wasn't as present as I am now. I'm grateful that I'm able to be present. Your babies are little. Like, was there any like struggle with doing the I'm a doctor boss thing and having littles? Because what are they, 3 and 6?
Yeah, 4 and 6
Four
now.
and six? Yeah,
Almost, yeah. Yeah,
they're
they're young.
new. They're
They're
still
young.
new.
They're babies. They're babies. Yes, for sure. You got to be able to find that balance. And I think the biggest thing for us was changing our mindset around our household chores. Like, I don't want to, if I'm doing my work and I'm 100% focused on that, when I'm home, I want to be 100% present with my kids. And so I had to really shift that mindset to outsource everything. Like, I'm not touching laundry again. If this is a thing that my husband and I are arguing about at home and it's driving tension, I can't have anything that's going to, take away from my energy. My energy has to be positive and well. Right. You said, try it. It's more of a mental thing too. It's that mindset shift I had to have to don't trade your time for money, they say, right? You got to invest and outsource so that you're focused on the things that matter and like grow and to be present with your kids, right? So I don't want to come home and have to worry about chores. Like, so I eliminated all of that, and that made it a lot better. Like, we don't cut the grass, and it's just you think it's expensive, but it's not. It's for your
It's not.
mental peace and your relationship. With your kids, your spouse. It's really important to have that well-being at home and to get help and to ask for help. Yeah.
I'm gonna double down on that for a second because I don't think, especially for like the mom entrepreneurs that are listening, like I think you have to give yourself permission to outsource some of the things that are considered the makings of a good home, or if you're making
Yeah.
a good home. It took me some time, and obviously too, I needed to grow my business in a way to be able to afford all this stuff. But I have I don't do any of that. That was a stress. And you're right. When I wasn't present and doing all the things trying to grow my business, part of that beef, that drama when I came home was because of the upkeep of the house.
Chores.
And yeah, chores, literally. Like adult chores, like it sucks. Like who the hell signed up for this? I know
No.
we didn't. I signed up to
No.
have babies.
Yeah.
Everything else that came after that, like had no idea. But we
Yeah.
get our laundry done, our house done. I still cook because I enjoy cooking. Do you cook?
Not so much. No, I don't love it. I could, but I don't love it. So no.
I enjoy it. So I
Yeah.
think that's also like my love language to the kids. It's like, it makes me
Yeah.
happy when they say they love it. They
Yeah.
give me a sideways thumb when they don't,
Yeah.
which is stupid to me. But
Yeah.
that's like, my love language. But we outsourced everything. And you're right in terms of people may think it's expensive, but I'm 3Xing my time when
Yeah.
when somebody else is doing the things that I don't want to do. Like,
Yeah,
the-
exactly. Unless you love it, do it. Like I've had friends that tell me they love going to the grocery store. I haven't been to a grocery store in years unless I want to take my kids for like a trip to the grocery
right, a trip to the store.
But yeah, like there's so much convenience is at your fingertips now, right? You gotta leverage it. I mean, you gotta really value your time so that you can do all these things. And yeah, it's not only that. If you don't love it and it's a chore that you don't like, don't do it, right? Like, yeah.
And I don't want that label either of being a
Yeah.
superwoman. Like I kind of get
Oh,
offended sometimes when people call me like, "Oh,
yeah.
you're just a superwoman."
Yeah.
I don't want to do it all.
Well, I think also it depends on who you hang around too. You gotta you gotta surround yourself with other women that are cheering you on and telling you can do it versus, it might be your mom, it might be your sibling, it might be, telling you doing too much, this is too much. But really, like, I don't think I'm that stressed out over anything, but everyone, it's a different group, right? So I think it's really important that you surround yourself with the right people that are like-minded as you and have the same goals, and they can understand you better. And exactly.
Yes. That I completely agree. When I absolutely have a circle of coaches and entrepreneurs that I talk to. We've got masterminds, we got all that stuff, but it's so helpful when you can have like honest and real conversations about your day to day. You don't have to mince your words. You can talk money because, it's not, no one's jealous or, feeling away. So, for entrepreneurs that are on that road, it is a very lonely, isolating road. And you niche down to health. There's just not many of you. There's not many of you walking around. Like how many other eye doctors who own multiple locations can you talk to after work?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And and it's really nice when you find a few, but there's not many. And then what I think is even more important is broadening that perspective. So now being a part of Mastermind Women in different businesses, it's like we all have the same challenges, but it also broadens your mind to like, hey, there's so many people doing this, right? Like,
oh my gosh,
there's so many people doing this. I can do this too. So, I think the network and the people that you surround yourself with is really helpful.
Key. So
if you're going down this path,
Mm-hmm. What do you do to like stay grounded? Like, do you have like a routine that you try to live by daily or weekly so you kind of stay grounded, you can stay focused, and you can get your shit done, basically?
Yeah. I try to. Well, for physical fitness, I think I try to be fit. I don't love it, but I force myself to do it. So I go to the gym. Right now, it's CrossFit, and then when my mind feels like it's like too cluttered or there's too much happening, and you start to, there's a lot of deadlines on your plate. Meditation, like putting on something on YouTube, whatever I looked up, like a chakra medication or some sort of Isha Kriya. I'm a big Sadhguru fan, so I love listening to it. It just grounds you in the morning when you've done a guided meditation, and you feel like you're way more productive in the day, and you can prioritize and think more clearly. And so that's what I do when I realize I'm trending a little bit off, with my emotions. So
I'm a meditator too. And then I also even took note of how my behavior changed like throughout the day. I like to start my day like with an intentional breathing and, just very thoughtful about business, the people I coach and stuff. And when I don't do that, I'm a complete bitch.
Yeah. And you're just like, you get nothing done. You're just like, you're toggling between and you're not prioritizing. 100%. Mind clarity and balance is very, very important. I love that. I love that you
My
do that
kids will
too.
be like, "Mommy, did you meditate? Did you
Oh,
say your
that's so funny.
intention today?" And they'll open up their hands to do the open, like so I can put my hand in theirs. Like, "Mommy, let's settle." It's like they're so funny.
That's so
Okay,
funny.
so let's hop back in.
My kids too. They'll just say, "Mom, where's the oh?" I'm
Oh,
like,
the
oh my god,
mommy, you need to own. You need to own, mommy. Yeah, like that's like a they
That's
check our
hilarious. They
energy.
probably do. Yeah, they probably do. It's
They
cute.
check our energy. I love it. So I'm gonna hop back into some business chat. So, on this show, we do talk about like specific things, rock bottom moments, or like the one thing that maybe became a turning point to just operate differently and just behave differently in how you run your business and your life. Do you have one like failure or moment or anything like in retrospect that was just really a turning point or like a huge learning experience for you to spark you to just just be different?
Um, yeah. There's many. Like I feel like I fail all the time. There's so many, but a monumental one. I would say, well, here's one where there's a time a couple years ago where I had taken on a new sublease, a location, and there were like no doctors in sight. We had gone through something called job action in Ontario. All the doctors were on strike. Word got out, nobody was coming back to Canada, and so there are far few in between. And here I was working 6 days a week with my family, my young family,
Yikes.
and not a good situation. So yeah, so that was probably a failure for me. And I told myself I'm never going to be in this position again. So
Mm-hmm.
I just started to focus on it, and I just figured out a way. Once you focus on something, you'll figure out a way. Getting yourself out there on LinkedIn, Instagram, attracting
Yeah.
doctors. So and planning ahead. So just simple things, but I think it just required more focus. And that's where I realized, wow, that was not a good time for me, where I felt I
6 days a
hit rock
week
bottom
with
with
babies
little
is like,
kids. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like that story again, that can be for anybody, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
find yourself, you're working too much. You don't have to. You just have to find a way to focus on that problem and just find a solution and a path, because there's always a way. There's always a way.
Yeah. Have you
Yeah.
seen, and I'm sure that the obvious answer is yes, but from marketing perspective for your growth, because you tried things, you tweaked things. It's been
Oh,
an evolution of sorts. The good thing is Lens Crafters does have the brand recognition to just organically, be kind of
yes.
a, fill you up. But
Yes.
I know you can't rely on that. Like, so how are
Yeah.
you kind of future proofing your
Yeah.
business with your marketing and your income streams and all that stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, exactly. So the good thing is when you partner with a brand so strong, you have instant foot traffic, right? It's not like you're dead, you have instant foot traffic. But for me and my mindset, I'm always, how can I get to fill the books to capacity sooner? Like, how can I
Sure.
get there sooner? And that's where marketing 100%. I fully believe in marketing, but I've probably been through 3 or 4 different agencies now. I've been through every single one of them, and I cycle through it. I'm sure now a lot of them have probably changed and evolved over time.
Sure.
But going through optometry focused marketing companies for SEO, for ads, to the point where this year I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take it internally. I hired my own digital marketer for
Yep.
myself internally. So we handle everything now inside. So I have more control. If I want to talk to him at any point in time, like, he's on my call. He'll fix things right away. So that's been the evolution, and we're still, not there. We're still tweaking and getting better and finding ways to improve things. But again, that's entrepreneurship, I think, right? So if you feel like you don't
Yeah.
have a good outcome or good results, you got to find a new way to find a different provider, a different person,
Yep.
into your business. So
And what I've loved just observing you kind of as you run your business, you have a lot of accountability. There's a lot of doctors that don't. It's like they hire their vendors or they hire the people and it's their fault. If things don't work out,
oh
if marketing isn't great, if it's your fault, what's the result? Da 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 da. But what I've noticed is that you taken it upon yourself to learn how marketing works so you
yeah
can offer your own opinions. I know sometimes you've even
yeah
changed strategies and keywords. Like you've evolved. Like you're kind of a marketer a
I
little
know. I
bit.
know so much about it. It's crazy. Yeah, I know.
They didn't teach that in eye school, in eye
I don't know if
doctor
that's a
school.
good thing or a bad thing. I know they don't. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I think when you have a small business, you have to keep in mind you don't really have like talent like lens crafters would have. You don't have that disposable income. And so you really do have to keep people accountable to get results, right? And you have to learn about it too to know What's the conversion CTR ratio? What's the cost per lead? Where are we, how are we marketing different on Google? And what are people looking for on Google versus social media and Instagram? Like what's more effective in that strategy? Yeah, there's differences and even sales. So, if you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I don't think I would know too much about sales or marketing. And I think it's really important that you do educate yourself because there's always a room for improvement in any of these aspects. And as a business owner, those are your two main, revenue generating pieces that keep the wheels turning, right? You don't necessarily need it when you have a big brand like LensCrafters, so you can just open up shop and do very well because they take care of all that for you. But if you want to get to the next level quicker, these are your two engines that you have to constantly keep a pulse on, I think, right?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I love, like, I could just imagine Dr. Fallon 10 years ago. You didn't know what funnels were, landing pages, sales pages.
I tell you, I did get a book, Google Ad for Dummies, 13, 14 years ago. And it was so easy back then. Each lead was $1. And I was like so winning. It was so easy. And then I looked at it again 10 years later. I'm like, oh my God, there's no way.
No way. Like, if you've seen what the ads accounts and things look like, it's a hot mess back there. But it's like you have your own little MBA that you've developed over the course of time, like to understand this is how websites work. This is how much a good website should cost. This is what a sales page is. Because you're doing a couple of different campaigns. I think it's important to talk about streams of income here because a lot of doctors only have one. And it's their time and it's their hands and it's their efforts, right?
Yeah, I know.
And you're over here talking about, okay, we need products. We need to add in some higher ticket services. You replicate it yourself with your other doctors that you've hired. Like, don't you feel like what's your thoughts about multiple streams of income in optometry? It's more than possible.
Yeah, I think if you're a business owner, I think you have to really think about taking a couple days out of your practice. It's that whole trading your money for time. You got to remove yourself because now when you have a team and your sole goal is to provide opportunity and growth for the people, you got to first find some time so you can think and strategize right about that. And yeah, there's endless opportunity in different streams of income. Optometry has evolved so much from 10 years ago to today. 10 years ago, it was just very basic, very boring, same thing over and over again. And now we have all the technology. You go to these expos and they have dry eye and IOP management. There's all these different fields that people need care for. And if they're not getting it from you, they're going to go somewhere else. So I think it's important that you start to evolve that too and start to generate some different services and different offerings to your patients because that's one person you're trying to help, right? And that one person has a lot of different needs. So how do you do that? And how do you provide adaptive, technology and treatment options for them? Because I think it's really important and it's moving that way really quickly. Like the world is changing, especially with AI. We're going to see a lot of change in how businesses operate, right? So I think it's important that you can do it is what I'm trying to say. You just have to focus on it and you have to take time away so that you can think and get a game plan.
You got to be visionary too, guys. Like you have to actually envision yourself working 4 days a week or working 3 days a week where the other 2 days are for self-care and for business growth. And if you don't start thinking about that now, you're going to be working 5-6 days a week for years and years and years to come. So you have to start thinking about that now. I think that's excellent advice. And I'm also curious, Fallon, tell us what advice you would give to fresh out of med school, which has no business classes, right? So they're fresh out of med school, and now what? What's your advice?
If I were to do this differently, mentor from day one. Invest. It's an investment, but oh my God, you're going to see the return so much more quicker. Find somebody who's doing it. Find somebody who you admire, you aspire to become. Partner with them, get them to teach you everything you know. Now you're just going to fast track. Instead of trialing and error all those years, you will learn in such a short amount of time. So mentor.
And you're even mentoring people within LensCrafters, aren't you? Don't they? Oh, yeah. Aren't you one of the educators there?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you are such a delight,
Yeah.
Dr. Fallon.
Oh.
Just thank you for just sharing, your time, your expertise, and your strategies. I just love watching you thrive. Why don't you let us know where we can find you if we want to find you, or if we want an eye appointment in Toronto?
Yeah, you can Google us, Fallon Vision Group, fallonvisiongroup.com. We have our email there. Reach out to me. If you're into business and you want to chat, I would love to do that. I mean, this is what I love doing on my spare time. So happy to do so.
What's your Instagram?
My Instagram, yeah, no, I have a couple. So our group is Fallon Vision Group, and then mine is Dr. Patel, Dr. Patel _optometrist. So you can find me there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Dr. Fallon. Thank you guys. Make sure that you go and follow Dr. Fallon. She is on the rise in Toronto. Make sure you share this with a health business owner. And you can connect with me on Instagram at I am Lauren Powers. This has been an amazing discussion. Thank you so much,
Love
Dr.
it.
Fallon. I will
Thank
see
you
you
for
all
having me.
next week. Bye.
Thank you.
Hey, y'all, thanks for tuning in to Power Moves Health Marketing Podcast. If you're ready to transform your practice with smarter strategies and cutting-edge tools, I want you to head over to microsite.com to book a strategy session with me and my team. While you're there, check out the show notes for links, resources, and my free Power Moves playbook. Remember, every move you make is a step toward becoming the health business leader you're meant to be. Let's keep building your momentum.